Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio tonight. So, coming at you once again, late night watercolors, Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. I thought we would paint tonight some beautiful poppies. Here they are. Let's get right to it. Let me send you to the other cam over here. There we go. California is in the midst of a giant super bloom of all kinds of everything. Around here, we've got a gazillion poppies. Ours aren't red poppies like this; they're orange poppies. But these work out just as nicely when you paint them. I've taken my drawing from these two images. I've quickly sketched something out. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to put these under the side. I'm going to be using my new palette of colors here. Let me let you know what these are here. They are turquoise blue, phthalo blue, ultramarine, cobalt, cerulean blue, deep, cobalt green, phthalo green, olive green, azo green. Then I've got some neutrals here, sepia, neutral tint, and Payne's gray. I've got one purple over here because I thought it was such a neat color. Cobalt violet. Then maroon perylene, permanent alizarin crimson, Pyro Red, quinacridone rose, burnt umber, azo orange, gamboge, Hansa yellow, and over on this side by itself is yellow ochre. Let me put these over on the side. There we go, so we can get to some other things. I've got my color swatch card right up there. Okay, as you can see, I've done a quick sketch of this. Maybe I can tip this up and you can see it a little bit better. Maybe not. I didn't take it all from this. I did a few flowers from here, a couple of these ones over here, and I took a couple of them from here, this one, and this one. Kind of put them all together to see what we would get. I think the result is fairly nice. I should say all of these colors in my palette, wherever it is at here, are M-gram paints. I'm going to start tonight by using my Da Vinci squirrel hair brushes. It looks like I got a big piece of dirt on that. I've got water up on top up here, and I think if I need to get into any detail of anything, I'm going to be going to some silver black velvet brushes. Sometimes I want to call these black silver velvet for some reason. I don't know. And I think that's all the housekeeping taken care of. I've got a stack of rags over here at my side. I think we can all see the image, what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to grab some paint and go. I'm going to start with a little bit of cerulean blue here. I'm not wetting the paper first. And I'm not painting totally around all of my flowers, but mostly around them. Oh, I guess the one bit of housekeeping that we didn't take care of, somebody should have told me, was what paper am I using. Tonight I am still using, I've still got some of it, my Pro Art paper. It's 140 pound. It is not cotton rag paper. It is wood pulp paper. 12 by 16 inches or some such thing, somewhere around there. 12 by 16. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And if you don't know, I located this at my local community college. I thought I'd be getting a good buy on it, and in fact, this giant thing of paper here Oh, let's see, it's got 15 sheets in it, and like I said, they're 12 by 16 inches. Cost me $10 or thereabouts. It was not all that much. It might have been $9.50. It could have been $11, but I remember it being roughly $10. So I don't know. The moral of the story is not go out and buy this paper because this is the greatest paper. The moral of the story is you might want to take a visit to your local community college if you've got one nearby, because they might have a good deal on some art supplies. And if you live in California, as I do, the community colleges really get a lot of funding and have some really good deals on school supplies or art supplies or whatnot. They've got to teach the same thing that all of the big universities have to paint, and they're typically doing it for students who aren't quite able to go to or aren't quite ready to go to university. So lots of times they get better deals. Anyways, a lot of funding for community colleges, especially in California, other places also, but you might want to check them out just to see what kind of deals you can get there. Okay, I've got a nice wet wash on my page here. I'll stop rambling about higher education and get on with watercolor painting. I'm just going to, you know what I should do? Let's do this instead. I'm just going to flick some water in here. I was going to take some off and allow for a little bit of well, not texture isn't right, but variance, I guess, variance in the paints on here. But I think I'll just drop a little bit of water on there, and I'll bet you that in no time at all, that'll start to change the look. I've already got a little bloom here going. I know I'm going to get one up here and a little bit over there, so that'll make this background nice and neat. You're not going to notice most of it. It's going to dry lighter than it is, and the bright orangish red poppies are going to pop out in our stalks, and everything down here are going to pop out. See, you're not really going to notice that background anyways, but on the odd chance that somebody's coming past and viewing your art and they do notice that, we've got it covered. Okay, while I'm waiting for this to dry up a little bit, I'm going to mix up a little bit of orange, and I think I want to go with some Pyro Red, which is here. And Pyro Red is a really neutral red. It's a red, a fire engine red, if you want to call it that. It's really bright red. The only problem with it is it's slightly opaque, but I think we'll be okay with it. We're going to slim it down. Oh, somebody has asked a question. Hang on just a second. Opal. Haven't commented on your vids in a few years, but your channel has definitely grown. Oh, yes, my channel has grown great leaps and bounds, and I am so happy that it has grown and that people like it. I get asked all the time, why do I do it? Why do I do it? Why do I do it? And I went, well, the reason I do this is because I like painting watercolors so much that I want to share that with everybody. I'm not the best artist in the world. I can admit that. I don't know all the tips and tricks and techniques. There are people who know more than me, but I have such an enthusiasm for watercolors. I love painting watercolors. I love that I can set them up in no time. I love that I can clean up in no time. I love that in just a couple of layers of paint, you can get a real depth to the paint. I don't know, I just love watercolor. In the colors themselves, holy cow, you've got some that are so transparent, they're see-through. You've got some that aren't quite see-through. You've got some that you can layer and layer and layer and just make this deep look. I mean, you can do anything you want to with watercolors. I just get so excited. I love watercolors so much. So, Opal, I'm glad you're back. Thank you for noticing. My channel has grown. I don't know. Watercolors are just, to me, such a cool medium. All right, so if I didn't miss this by too much, my only issue that I'm going to run into here maybe, and I think we're going to be able to get around it, is that in the flowers I drew, I went over the edges of these just a little bit. And I'm okay with that. And I've got a little run here. I'm okay with that. This isn't going to be just a straight color by numbers kind of a thing here. Well, this one might have run a bit much. Ooh, I really like this over here. I think that looks great over here. Yeah, this one's a little out of control. That's okay. We'll deal with it. You know what? A long time ago, when I was painting poppies, I was trying to paint them very loose, way super loose, and I painted some that just had, oops, I didn't want to do that. I mixed a warm, well, neutral red, I guess, with a cold yellow. I'm going to get a bit of an odd color. Well, not an odd color, just not quite what I was hoping for. I painted super loose, and if you saw the hydrangeas that I did recently, where the water was just, or the colors were just dripping all over, that's kind of what these look like. And a woman I work with saw them and went, "Oh, those are unbelievable. Can I buy those from you? Can I put them in my office?" I wouldn't sell them to her, but she did end up putting them in her office. And every day I go by her office, I get to see them. But I got off track a little bit. The moral of the story is, this loose way of painting poppies, I kind of have fallen in love with. I could do them tighter, but man, when you see poppies outside and they're just kind of blowing in the wind and they're nice and free, and they're not real big, they don't, you know, they're only tiny, but they sway back and forth and they do all these dances in the wind, kind of makes you not want to paint them real super tight. So I'm totally fine with them being a little bit looser here. I'm going to grab a little bit of this neutral tint up here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this, what is this, phthalo blue, neutral tint and phthalo blue. It's a fairly thick bit of mixture because I don't want it to run too much. Let's see, this flower is going to have a little bit of dark in there, and a little bit here. This one can have just a little bit. Let's see. There we go. I think that's good. I don't want to get these too dark. Let's see. Somebody else has said, how to draw petals of flowers. Well, that's a great question. How I did these petals was nothing more than just some basic blocky, almost triangle shapes. One triangle here, butted up against another triangle there. Here's basically a triangle with a triangle-ish shape. That's more of a parallelogram. But these ones are fairly simple. Here you can see here's a petal. It's a triangular shape. The one next to it is a triangular shape. I picked these because they're a little easier to draw. I wouldn't have quite the hard time if I were going to do this in a larger picture or a more detailed setting, I might take a little extra time and be a bit more detailed in my drawing, but since I'm constrained with time here, I don't want everybody to have to spend 3 hours watching me do a painting. I could do this in about half an hour to 40 minutes and come out with a nice painting, but still talk to you about detail and how to do it and how to set it up and all those things that we talk about. So I had to keep that in mind. So that's why I chose a bit of a simpler flower to do. But all flowers are a little bit different. But in general, if you're having trouble if you're having trouble drawing anything, the thing The thing you should do is try to break it down into its simplest components and draw those components, and from there then embellish and add on to the shape. So the basic shape, if you were to draw, let's say, a sunflower, the basic shape is a circle, right? The sunflower is basically a circle in a circle. So you would do that, and then from the inner circle to the outer circle, then you could make a bunch of arcs, and that would start defining the petals, and then you could erase the outside line and you'd have a nice sunflower. So that's the basic way that you're going to do it. Quite honestly, I struggle with a lot of drawing myself, or not quite as much now, maybe because I've got a bit more confidence in what I draw, but I used to. And I would tell you, if you're really having trouble with something, this is what I used to do. I used to print it out in exactly the size you want to paint it. Okay? Print it out in exactly the size that you want to paint it. Print it on a color copier, a color painter, or a color printer. God, I really am having trouble. So one side has the print on it. Turn it over, take a really dark pencil, and just color that whole side in, the whole back side. Just color everything. And after you do that, put it on your paper, affix it to the paper, tape it down on the sides and whatnot, and trace the image from the top side. And what you'll find is that it's just about like tracing paper or carbon paper, if anybody remembers carbon paper. And what you end up with is the nice image that you want lined out on your paper. I don't do that really anymore. I used to do it quite a lot when I was really subconscious of my drawing. I'm not as worried about it anymore. I don't know that I draw a whole lot better, but I'm not so worried about it anymore, and so I don't do that anymore. The other thing you could do is you could get a light box, which is a box that has a white see-through top. Actually, you know what? It's kind of like the top of an X-ray machine, or the front of an X-ray machine. You see through an X-ray. You put your paper, your watercolor paper down, and you put the image underneath it. I guess that's the way you do it. You put the image underneath, you put your watercolor paper on top. The light in that box is bright enough that you can see through both of those things. and you can actually trace whatever it is you want to. Trace whatever it is you want to paint that way. So that might be one way to do it too if you're really having troubles. I hope that answers your question. Of course, the other way to do it is to completely change your style of painting such that whatever you draw, you can tell people is exactly what you, or whatever you paint, you can tell people is exactly what you wanted to draw, and nobody will be the wiser. Okay, you can't, most of us can't really do that. There are some people who are good enough and paint in a loose enough style that they could do that. I certainly don't think I could get away with that, but some people probably can. Okay, here you go. I am, just by doing this, defining the edge of this leaf here. Just darker on that side. Put a little paint on, almost straight, and then blend it in. There you go, and we have one petal there. I want a little bit more yellow inside there. There you go, there's one petal, and you can see now, or I hope you can see, that this petal is now behind this petal. You know what? I think what I want to do, I'm going to switch to one of these, what is this? Silver black velvet brushes. I think I'm just going to be able to get a little bit more control and probably get a little more paint down each time with it. I love those squirrel brushes, but when I do a lot of blending, I feel as though I need to use so much water on them that I end up washing away a lot of the paint, and I don't really want to do that. And there you go, you can see I just painted two, I hope you can see it, I just painted two petals on that one. What I should have done is really pushed the envelope on this one and made this one way darker back here. And down here. Really make that petal stand out in front. There we go. Now it really stands out. And the key is just don't give up on it. Just keep going with it until you get it like you like it. I think I've got it right there. I'm not going to mess with that one anymore. Alright, as you can tell, I'm mixing a lot of my own orange here. I'm using the Azo orange. I'm using Gambos. They're two warm, yellowish colors. And that's what I want to use. I want to have a nice yellowy color here. I don't want it to be too red, although if I have to, I'll go a little bit more red. Just trying to put a little bit of that neutral tint in here to force the color just a little bit. There we go. There's one petal right there. I think we can see the difference right here. Maybe I'll just try some of this straight. Maybe I should try some of this alizarin crimson after I've already got a bit of this orange on there. That alizarin crimson might be just what I need to not alter the color too much, but change it enough that I get a difference in values in there. We can see that right there. And we just need to go around to each of these petals. Here's one sitting right there. And paint into them the colors that we want. So I've got two. This is the second time I've done this. This is going to be interesting. So you can't see it up here. I've got two different things of water up here. One that's clean or clean-ish, there it is, and one that is obviously a bit used. The one that's clean, I have some, what is this, ox gall in. And you're going to ask right away, what the heck is ox gall? Well, I'm kind of asking that too. It's supposed to be a wetting agent that allows you to keep your paints wetter for a longer period of time. And I was experimenting with it the other night. I've had it for a while and never gotten it out. It was one of those things I saw in a store at one point, and I went, oh, that's kind of neat. I could really try that out, and, well, I haven't tried it out yet. Well, until 2 nights ago when I finally got it out of the bottle. Here it is. Here's what it looks like. And so I left the ox gall in here, so this bit may not dry very quickly at all. Hey, Morro Ambiguous. All right, thanks for joining, and great that you got here a little earlier this time. That's fantastic. Painting poppies here, obviously. Trying to get some of the colors and define some of these petals here. Trying to paint loose style. Haha. Yes. I'm just going to kind of laugh and snicker a little bit. Yeah. I'm trying to paint loose. It's tough. It's hard. I don't know anybody who has an easy time with it when they go from, well, what you would learn in a normal art class, or if you're just trying to pick it up on your own, you see that somebody else is doing it, and you go, man, that is neat. I want to try that out, and you try it, and you go, holy cow, that, I don't know how that person did what they did, but man, mine is not looking like that. It's tough. It's a killer. I'm with you. I've got a few that I'm trying to paint much more loosely and with mixed results. I'm getting there. I'll be there sooner rather than later. I think I'm not in too big of a rush at this point. I like where I'm at. I can paint a lot of different styles right now. Some of them a bit more loose, or you can use some loose techniques in what you're doing. And then try to tighten it up and keep things relatively normal. I'll say normal. I just said that. Relatively normal. When you do a lot of stuff, but loosening up, man. I wish I had some great advice for you. If you have some great advice for me, I'd love to hear it. Elmer D. Escoto R. Greetings from Honduras. Holy cow. Elmer, you are way in parts unknown. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stop back again. I would love to go to Honduras. I don't know I don't know what you do down there or how you do or anything like that, but there are parts of your country that are just absolutely stunningly gorgeous. During lunches a lot of days, my office mates and I will turn on some wild bird cameras and watch people feeding birds in Honduras. Just bird feeders down there. The wildlife is unbelievable. Let you know if I'm ever down there. Elmer, I will certainly let you know. I don't expect that I will be leaving California anytime soon, but I would love to get down there. And if I can make it, I will certainly let you know. There we go. We got another petal right on there like that. And this flower, I think, for me, might just totally be done. Let me put a little bit of yellow. I want a little bit of yellow on here. So what I'm not liking, I should just let you know what I'm thinking here. What I'm not liking is the color of the red without a whole lot behind it. So like this orange, if I just put this red on top of that orange, then I don't know, it just kind of, where I blend it out, it just kind of loses all of its oomph and whatever. And so I put a little yellow in that one, and that seemed to make it better. And where I have yellow in this one, I think that makes that one a little bit better too. All right, so mixing up more. We got a lot to go here. Well, we don't have that much to go. Let's get this guy going here. Let's see, I think I want this petal to be about like, that's good for me. And who was it? Was it Morley? No. Who was asking? Oh, BP was asking about how to draw flowers. Here's the other thing, or another thing, BP, is that you might start to draw a flower, and I do this all the time. I drew this flower, or these flowers, I guess I drew all of these flowers with a H pencil, with an H pencil. And if you're looking at this right now, well, if you could look at this and see what I was seeing right now, you would see that maybe that H pencil wasn't dark enough. So I can see a line here and a line there, but I don't know, maybe I should have used something just a bit darker, and I'd have been able to see all of the lines of my flower petals to begin with. So so sometimes, the moral of the story is, sometimes you need to use a little bit darker pencil, or that sometimes the pencil lines are just the start, just a little bit of a guide, and you've got to take it from there to see where everything else needs to go. Let's see, I'm gonna put one right there. Thinking I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow in here. There's a little petal hanging out in there, and I'm going to put something on the bottom of this one. We're getting close. We're actually getting close. I don't know what the time is right now. Let's see. We've been going for 34 minutes. We're getting there. Big pop of yellow up here. I know I'm putting yellow on this orange. You can't see it all that much. And it looks probably as though we've done something we shouldn't have, which is put two values the same together. But this is going to dry up a little bit. Oh, great. I just touched it. This is going to dry up a little bit, and I'm going to come in the back side here, and I'm going to put something even darker back there. So we haven't really done that. We've done it, but we haven't done it. I'm just trying to add a few values here and there where I think some of these petals might be in a little bit more, not in shadow, but a little bit darker, and maybe somewhere they're not quite so dark. You use a 2B and lift a little bit. Yeah, I've done that. I've got a whole stack of pencils. In fact, here, look. Here's my 2Bs. I just got some Dixon Ticonderogas. There we go. World's best pencil, says right on the top of it. They're all 2Bs. Unfortunately, I didn't use it on this painting. So, yeah. I got part of it right. I got the pencils. I just didn't use it. There we go. There's the back, the darker that I said I was going to put on. A little bit darker value. And if I leave a little space, whoops, in between these other, there we go. Now it looks like that really has a lot of depth to it. Somebody said something about oxgall over here. Let's see, opal. I got some oxgall and haven't had a chance to use it myself. It helps your paint disperse more easily. It could. It's a wetting, as I understand it, it's a wetting agent that helps your paints flow more easily. So that would make some semblance of sense. There we go. Look, this petal is now pushed back behind those others with the presence of this darker mixture. There we go. If anybody, I should say, if anybody else has any other questions or anything for me, go ahead and throw them out there, but just give me a moment to get to them, because I'm the only one here in the studio, and I love answering questions, but sometimes it takes me a moment or two to get to them. The other thing I'm noticing here is that when I put my palette together, I only did it not long ago. I purposely didn't fill up with a big blob of paint all my colors because I wanted to cheat the system just a little bit. I wanted to make sure that the colors that I had here were colors that I wanted here, instead of, I should say, and instead of not liking them and having a big, huge ball of paint, dollop of paint on my palette that I then have to chisel out or get out in some other way. I just put that small bit down there, and now I'm finding that maybe I didn't put quite enough in there. I'm going to have to refill these fairly quickly. Let's see, we're going to get on, we're getting to the end of our petals here, and then we'll move on to our stems, which won't take nearly as long. You won't have to listen to me babble on for nearly as long of a time. Let's see, I'm going to make something here, but just a little bit more orange. I do want to increase the value here a little bit, and then bring it up to more yellow at the top. More light shining on it, a little bit more yellowish. What I struggle with is when I put down my first layer of paint here, I sometimes get a bit heavy with it. And I don't mean to, and I don't want to get heavy with it, but then it makes it a bit tough to go back over it again with the next layer of paint. It just doesn't go on quite as nicely, quite as smoothly. Well, look at this guy. I've painted this guy here a couple of times. Okay, I'm going to have to do, I'm not going to have to do, I was going to say I'm going to have to do a flip here, but I think I can do it without flipping. So I'm not worried about painting wet in wet right now. I worry about values. Do I have the right value on the page for what I want to paint, or do I need to change that value? On that first layer, is the value light enough that I could put something over top of it and get some remnants of that original color on the bottom? That's my big thing I'm working on right now. And I'll leave it up for debate upon whether I'm doing a good job with that or not. Some people might say yes. Others maybe not. But it's one of those things that if you're going to paint in multiple layers, you've got to figure it out at some point. Let's see, I want to do this. Let's see. No. That's too dark. This one, I got to think to myself, this petal is in front. This other one is just behind. I'm looking to see where I can set my hand. This one is just behind and comes out. Maybe we could make that a little bit more intense. Don't need to do too much. There we go. There we go. Now I've just pushed this one right behind that one. I hope I didn't do it in too clumsy of a way. And I'm going to get wet here and give that a little bit more orange. I want that a bit warmer. There we go. What do we have left? I've got 2 petals I know I need something to do with. Then I promise we are on to the greenery. There's one, and here's my other one down here. Little permanent alizarin crimson. Bring that out. Beautiful leaf coming out of here. And I'm going to keep this nice and dark all the way around the top of that one. Where I wrap it around right at the top there, that's what tells you which one of these two petals is in front and which one is behind. All right, there we go. I'm gonna leave those like that. I'm gonna wet my cobalt green, and I'm gonna wet my, this should be olive green, right? Olive green and cobalt green. And I'm gonna bet you that a slight mix of these two is gonna be a fantastic color for these stems. Let's see if I can do this. I'm scared. I'm gonna cheat. This is an old rigger, the Grumbacher rigger number 3. But I know that with this one I can draw a few straight or straight-ish, anyways, lines. You know what? Those might need to be a bit fatter. Let's do this. Those look too thin to me. Oh, that looks too thick. Well, oh, I got, is this one in between? A 4. I've got a 4. All right, let's do this. There we go. Go back over it. Better. It's a better thickness. Okay, let's see. This one comes down, turns in there. Let's see. I've got drawn in here a bud that must come up over the top here somehow, and then down here. Has to. Let's see. I know I've got one here. This is another reason I like to paint poppies, is that when you paint these pods, they're so simple to do. Come on, I'm going dry. Just paint an oval on. There we go. And we can just drop in a little extra color on the dark side of them right there, and we're basically done with those. They almost paint themselves. See, if I need to brighten this color up a little bit, I can put in just a touch of the phthalo green, but I would be cautious with it because phthalo green is very strong. There we go. Put a few more things on here. I've got a leaf over here, which should be pretty simple to paint. They're really kind of just jaggedy, and so you can do a lot of smaller lines and then fill it in, and all of a sudden we've got, if I could do it on screen, we've got a leaf. Let's put one here right in front. You can see I'm just, if you need to add a little shape, it's just make these a little longer or whatnot. There's your leaf. Let's put one over here. And they don't have any air in them, so you can just fill them in. Oh, we got a few more of these stalks and twigs and everything in here. That one's going to come from there. That's one cool thing about these is, oh no, is you can, well, I've got a little splatter on here. You can draw these stalks in really any way, shape, or form you want. And then what we need to do is go back and put a little bit of shadow on these where they cross one another, or whether they're under the plant. And I'm just using olive green to do this. I think the olive green in this instance, especially with the cobalt green, is fantastic for this. And you can put on, it doesn't need to be under the flower. It can be wherever you think those stalks are moving to. You can drop in a little bit of this color, and it's going to add a lot of dimension. Let's see, I'm going to put one here. It's going to add a lot of dimension to what we're doing here, and you can just continue to do this. Right over here, there's a little shadow where it bends down that little bit. Should do that up here too. And all of a sudden now you've got a whole picture that comes into view and really looks vibrant and ready to roll. Whereas before we were just painting little areas of this orange. As soon as we started putting in this green, it really, in my opinion, really drew it all together. I'm going to put in another leaf right over here. Whoop. See, I'm just going to go like that and then fill in a lot of this area. Like I said, they have a jagged edge to them. But they're so you can just, like I said, just draw a bunch of straight lines next to each other. It's so simple, so easy. Let's see, I'm going to put another, I don't know. You know what? I think if I start doing too much more, it's going to be called fiddling with it and not painting it. The poppy on the top left, you said was getting out of control, maybe my favorite. Oh yeah, up here. That's why I used to try to paint, and that would have made me nuts. Oh no, it's running, and so I would try to paint, and I'd do the background, and then I'd wait. I'd pull out the hairdryer and dry it off, and then I'd do this leaf, and then I would do. And now I kind of just go, it's gonna be how it's gonna be. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. And you get wonderful things like it comes out, it almost looks like it has an aura or a glow around it at this point. Yeah, so that's totally cool. I think what I'm going to do, I think the last thing I'm going to do here for this one, and I'm going to try to do this. Let's see. I'm trying to get a smaller rigger. I got one that the paint has all come off of, but it looks like it might be smaller. I'm going to grab a little bit of my my neutral tint here, And I don't want it to be super, super dark. I mean, I want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be super, super purplish like it is. So I'm going to add in a little bit of this red or a little bit of this yellow just to warm that up a little bit. And then, and then I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And then I'm going to come in. I'm just going to pull in. You know what? I can already tell you it's a little too strong still. I'm going to pull in just a few things coming from inside here. There we go. A couple there. And I don't even know if you guys can see this on the video. I know it's very slight. I'm looking to see where I can set my hand down without smearing anything. There we go. Just a few little lines to show a few hairs here and there. I'm not going to bother to put any hairs. I know the stalks and stems on these are pretty hairy. I don't think they need it. I'm going to leave it just like that. A few marks here and there. And with that, I'm going to sign this one as done. Yeah, I think over here. And I think that is going to do it for me. There we go. My interpretation of a couple of poppy pictures kind of melded, morphed into one. There it is. I hope you guys had fun watching and listening to me. I had a great time painting with this. I hope you all come back and see me in the future doing another painting. I would love to see you back here. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Liza from Canada. Wow, international. One Honduras, one Canada. Great. Well, unfortunately, that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Remember to subscribe. Click the button down there, I believe it is. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.